Hello, hello everyone. I hope you can see me, you can hear me. If so, please tell me in the chat if everything is all right. If you can hear me, if you can see me. Hello, hello, hello. Чернигов, Бровары. Olha, thank you. Yes. So we will wait just maybe one or two more minutes and then we will start because we have still people joining in. So I hope that all of you are finished with the school year by now. If so, please tell me in the chat box. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody is still working hard at school. Are your students taking NMT this time right now? Maybe some students that you taught this year and the year before. Oh, yeah. Because I saw a lot of posts on Facebook today and I haven't seen any tasks from NMT, this year's NMT for English, but I saw that a lot of children had gotten very, very good results, and I'm very happy for them because there's probably nothing better than having an excellent mark, an excellent grade for an exam when it comes to English or any other subject that you studied hard. Hello, Nova Kakhovka. Hello, Kherson. Hello, Odessa. Hello, hello, everyone. Okay, okay. So I see we have 108 people. So I think we can start, right? Hello, Sumy. Hello, Cherkasy region. Hello. Okay, so let's start. The chat box I will look at it from time to time. If you have maybe any questions, any concerns, you can type them into the chat box and we will do just that. Lviv, okay, Cherkasy region, okay, good. So as you know, our topic today for today's webinar is using full blast 6 tests and grammar in and out of the classroom. Okay, Olha, sorry, not Olha, Olena, you wanted to ask something. If so, then type your question into the chat box and I'll make sure I answer it. Okay, Mykolaiv, hello, hello, hello. Okay, so as you know, tests and grammar, they are additional resources from the course. Unfortunately, we don't have covers yet for the test book and for the grammar book, but the contents of those books are already finished or are already done. So you will be able to get your hands on those books sometime around August or maybe early September. I'm not really sure because sometime around that. Okay, so as usual, my contact information, if it's needed. I also want to take one more minute of your time before we begin to remind you about the competition that we have, which is called Learn to Read with We Can Read. You can post your worksheets or maybe your advice on how to teach students of different ages to how to read in English. Maybe you have some interesting works that can be qualified for that. So visit our Facebook page, read the rules, and okay, Tatiana Ivanova, Khmelnytsky region, okay, hello, hello, and take part in that competition. As far as I know, I only saw one person post their work, but remember, you need to also include the hashtag into the description of your post, because without the hashtag we are not able to see your work, and that way we can't make your work participate into the competition. So please make sure that in the description of your post you used the hashtag that is written down in the rules. Okay, the certificate, as usual, will be received in 2 to 3 working days. Usually it's 2 days tops, because we try to stay on sending out any materials. And also I will probably have, my neighbors seem to be repairing something, sorry for the noise. I will send you via Zoom the Google form where you can give back some feedback for me and maybe mention some of the topics that would be interesting to you for the future webinars. We are always open to suggestions. Okay, so our agenda for today, for today's webinar. What are the benefits? So we will talk about benefits from using additional parts of the course. We will talk about some practical tips for teaching grammar using Full Blast 6 grammar, and of course Full Blast 6 tests. How can we use them during the studying process, during the learning process, and how can we use them in and out of the classroom? Because I think it is an important information for all of us, because sometimes we don't have enough information about the use of the parts of the course, and we think they are not useful and they are not needed, and so on and so on. But trust me, you will enjoy seeing some parts of the books and you will learn how useful they can be. Rivne, hello Rivne. It's my city that is closest to me, because I live in Stolbuniv. So yeah, hello Rivne, hello. Very nice to see some of my neighbors, very close neighbors, so to speak. Hello Odessa. Okay, so your usual components of the learning course are, of course, student's book. I'm showing you the covers for the 5th class, for the 5th form, simply because we don't have all of the covers for the 6th form, 6th grade. So that's why I'm using the 5th grade. Of course, workbook and teacher's book. So the teacher's books, you can find them on our website. They are only in the forms of ebooks, so you can probably download them from the website. I think you can. If not, then maybe we will change that. But I think the teacher's book is available for downloading. If not, then we will try to change it. But aside from our usual components of the course, you have some additional components. And those are the test booklet and, of course, the grammar book, or the grammar booklet, as you can call it. So those two are very helpful. Of course, it depends on the classroom that you are working in, on the topics that you need to use those books for, but these books can be generally used even without maybe not like pointing out that you need to use the test booklet just to learn something, for example, or just to do this task, or the grammar book. So you can use the grammar book and the test booklet as an additional source of tasks of inspiration to work with. But let's dive a little bit deeper. So when we talk about the benefits of using any additional parts of the course. So first of all, it's structured learning. So the difference from your usual student's book to maybe grammar book or test book, it's the structure that it's in. So there's no vocabulary part, so to speak. There's no reading task. So you just have rules. For example, if we talk about the grammar book, you have the rules. You have the situation in which this grammar is used, and then you have exercises. So it's very easily structured and it's easy to work with. Next, it's variety in types of exercises. In student's book, you can find for the grammar section, maybe like 1 or 2 types of exercises, and that's all. Maybe a little bit more in the workbook. But when we open the grammar book, there are lots more exercises, and they are different from your usual students' books and workbook exercises. Also, self-paced learning of the topic. So that's why using grammar books, especially for the full blast course, it's beneficial, because if your student is working with the grammar book by himself or by herself, they can do it at their own pace. So there is no rush to get exercises done. They can choose the topic that they feel they need to work on more. And also it's their own free will, their own free choice. You shouldn't make working with grammar books or test booklets an obligation to your student, because they quickly lose interest in it when they know that it's required and it's like a part of the course that they have to do, not that they can choose to do. And also those books can help your students in time management, because, for example, they have this book that they can work with, and they need to divide their time on working with it. So, for example, today I will spend 15 minutes learning the rules, working with the rules and working with them, learning maybe some examples of how it's used and so on. Tomorrow I will spend, for example, half an hour on exercises. And the day after tomorrow, I will spend maybe like 40 minutes on the speaking exercises and on the writing exercises. I will grab my best friend and I will discuss the topic that was placed in the speaking task with him or with her. And I will, for example, write a review of a book that I read not too long ago. Next, we have our going from easy to hard method. So usually the grammar books like to be built in this structure. So we go from easier exercises to harder exercises, because when you start from hard exercises, your students might not be interested in doing them because they have no idea what's going on in those exercises, and they think, I'm only learning this topic. For example, I only started learning about the difference between present simple and present continuous, and I have no idea how to dissect those things. And I have like these big sentences, and I need to decide which is which tense goes where, and like, what? But when they have an exercise, for example, they have the first exercise, you need to turn the words into the present simple that are in the brackets and complete the sentences with them. Next, they have, for example, the same exercise but with present continuous. And now in the third exercise, they have to combine all of those and decide which is which. Next, we have variety in examples of using grammar. So it is seen not only in the explanation of the rules, not in like the grammar section, but also in those beginning exercises. So like the presentation exercises, so to speak, or maybe we prefer to call them warmers. So usually if you worked with the grammar books, the grammar book for the fifth form from Full Blast, you saw that there is a small exercise before the rules, which shows how that particular grammar structure is used in a situation. We will see one of the pages on the screens later on, and you will see what I talk about, what I mentioned here. And of course, focusing on one topic at a time. So you don't need to jump around the course book. You, so to speak, to chase one topic throughout the course book. One topic is firmly based on one page. You don't need to jump around the pages and just work with it as you will, as you please, so to speak. So here you can see the Full Blast 6 class students book and the contents of it. So for example, the grammar section is right here and right here. So the contents of the grammar section, they are working together with the model programs for the NUSH, for the secondary classes of NUSH. So you will find every grammar topic that you need to work with in 6th grade covered right here. So yeah, and also here, so the second part of the contents. So past tenses, present tenses, future tenses, should and could, and so on and so on. It all is right here. And when we compare the contents from the student's book to the contents of our grammar book, you will see that it all comes together. So in the student book, there's usually these little tables that contain simple information about, for example, past simple. So how can we create affirmative, negative sentences and questions, your usual time expressions, and some little notes like with the exceptions of the rules. And of course, one exercise that you need to do to understand the tense. For example, here you can see the verb could, and of course, at the end of the Full Blast book, we usually have this grammar section where all of the grammar rules are gathered from all of the units that are in the book. But it's not always convenient to look at one rule in the unit, then sift through the pages to go to the back of the book and open it. So sometimes it's not very convenient for students, and maybe while some of them enjoy looking through the pages, some of them may not like it so much. So once again, the contents of the Full Blast grammar book, they reflect the contents of the student's book. So all of the topics that you saw in the student's book, they are covered in the grammar book as well. So there's no difference in topics that are displayed in the student's book and in the grammar book. So first, when we speak about teaching grammar, it's of course teaching and assessing grammar in context. So we like to say that learning language in context is always more interesting and more useful for students, because that way they learn how to use the words and the grammar structures that they learn, how to use them correctly. So for example, we have here present simple, prepositions of time, adverbs of frequency, and how often. So this unit 1 is taken, of course, from the grammar book for the 6th form. And if you look at the picture below and all of the phrases that are used here, you can see that the words, the phrases that are in bold, they are corresponding with all of the grammar topics that are listed before, and they are used here properly. So for example, when somebody asks, how often do you hang out with your friends? So yeah, it's a repeated action. And of course, we ask, how often do you do it? So when maybe is not the correct question, because when we ask when, it's like a simple one occasion only. But when we say how often, it's a habit, it's a repeated habitual action. You can call it as you like, once again. And of course, while answering this question, the person will be using, of course, present simple. And of course, they will use one of the prepositions of time. So for example, someone will say, I hang out with my friends every Friday, or maybe every weekend. And of course, the adverbs of frequency will happen here too, and the prepositions of time also will be here too. And so we see how the language showcases the grammar structures. And of course, it also helps students, I'm mixing up my my plurals now. The students will understand just how the grammar topic is used and what to expect. Because sometimes when they hear present simple, they just think like, I'm Anna, I'm Peter, and that's all. But they maybe tend to forget that it's not only that, but some other things. It's habits, it's routines, it's timetables, and so on and so on. Here we, of course, can see that we have our usual question structures that begin with do, and of course, we have our questions that start with question words, and of course we see different structure of sentences here. So not only sentences that begin with just I, we use a, but the sentences that begin with, for example, every day, twice a week, so our adverbs of frequency and prepositions of time. So this is like a warmer, like the beginning exercise of our unit. And of course, then we have our rules. We begin working with the topic by revising or maybe refreshing the rules, because usually students either know the rules and they need just a little reminder about some of the things in the rules, or they have no idea what the rule is or what the rules are for this grammar topic, and you need to cover those rules all again. What I really like about the grammar rules here in the grammar book for Full Blast is that it's easy to explain to children the rules that are gathered here, and it's easy for them to understand because there are no big words that scare children away. And of course, we can see some examples of using those maybe prepositions of time, or maybe the third person singular or something like that. So we see the rule and we see how it's implemented, how it's used. So of course, here are some more. So like adverbs of frequency, how often, and how can we answer. So how often do you go out? I go out twice a week. And also, don't forget about model concepts of using grammar. So what is it? Usually we have like our typical exercises that we work with when it comes to working with grammar. Don't shy away from those, because when your students master working with those exercises, so for example, like to change the words in brackets into the correct sentence to complete the sentence, right? Or choose one of the given options to complete the sentence. So, and like use the prompts to make a sentence and write either a question or a negative or whatever sentence you need. So these are your typical exercises that you see everywhere. Any student's book that you open, they are familiar to every student and to every teacher. Don't shy away from those. Once your students master these exercises, they can work with any other exercise, because those exercises are a piece of cake after working with these. Use practice exercises to the fullest. So once again, you can have an exercise like these, like you can see here. So rewrite the sentences using the adverbs of frequency in brackets. Yeah, so for example, your students did those, but now tell your students, but now I want you to change those adverbs of frequency to the ones that will work for you. So for example, in the task we had a sentence that says, Mark has a shower in the morning, and we need to add always. So Mark always has a shower in the morning, but maybe not everyone has a shower in the morning every day. For example, maybe someone has a shower every other day. Who knows? Like everybody has different routines. So for example, Andrei made this sentence. So we asked him to read it out loud, his completed sentence, and he says that Mark always has a shower in the morning. But then you ask, for example, Andrei, how often do you have a shower in the morning? And maybe Andrei will say, I have a shower every day. So once again, he used the adverb of frequency, or sorry, not the adverb of frequency, the preposition of time, but it works with the present simple tense. Yes. So for example, the second sentence is, I don't do the washing up. So yeah, my mom does it for all of us, for all of our family. But maybe someone's task at home is to do the washing up after dinner is done. And they like, no, I usually do the dishes. I usually do the washing up after dinner. So yeah, try to make your students work with the exercise, but change it for them. So the sentences will work for them. Okay. And here, complete the blanks with the correct form of the words in brackets. Use prepositions of time to complete the boxes. So here, some students will have like a guessing game. So on the weekend, at the weekend, and so on and so on. But when they learn the rules, they will know that when we say weekend, we say at the weekend, not on the weekend, at the weekend. So yeah, and maybe again, you can turn this around and say, ask your students, where do you go at the weekend? Yeah, or maybe have your students ask each other these same questions that we have in the exercise, or maybe change the sentences once again so they work for them. Okay, next, practice grammar in context. So we saw the example of the use of the grammar in context, and now we need to practice it in context too. For example, exercises like these, so answering the questions about yourself, they are not only improving the speaking ability of your students, but they also make them work within the frames, so to speak, that you put them in. Because, for example, if you ask them, what do you usually do in the afternoon? They will have to think. So one afternoon, I read a book. Maybe tomorrow I will listen to music. And now they need to find a way how to collect it all together, how to say all of those things. But maybe they read a book like every other day, or maybe they listen to music on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they read a book on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and at the weekend. So they need to collect it all together and make it into a sentence. And of course, our speaking exercises. So once again, you have a task given to your students, and it works with all of the grammar topics that you have in your unit. And I really enjoy using speaking tasks like these in the classroom, because even some of the quieter students, they are up for a discussion when some of the interests and things that other people do don't connect with their. So they want to maybe ask and say something too. Teach grammar with writing. So of course, one of the best reflections of grammar is in writing. But to get to the point where your students don't need any help with their writing is a long way away. Even when it comes to students in the 5th form or in the 6th form, and so on and so on. So basically you can, I'm sorry, something got into my eye. I'm very, very sorry. So for example, you can give those writing tasks for them to work at home, then bring those writing tasks back to you, give your feedback to them. So for example, this right here is not used correctly, or maybe you should change this to this, and have them work on those writing tasks a few more times. So like not just take these writing tasks as like, you need to write me a story in 15 sentences about this, this, and this. Make sure that you give them tasks that grow in their, they become harder from time to time. So for example, here we have writing a few sentences about your activities during the week. Some students will write that I go to school every day, I listen to music twice a week, and so on and so on. But some students will write that I read a book every day, this book is called. And they will use not only the present simple, they will also use maybe other tenses. So don't scold them It's good that they are using other tenses here, and it's fine. Also, tell them not to stop only at the requirements that are given by the exercise. So, for example, if they want to include some additional details, let them. Right now, yeah, we are using writing tasks as as a reflection of grammar, but a particular grammar. So, for example, present simple, past continuous, and so on. But sometimes when writing a story or writing a text, children tend to stray away from the tense that is used here. Let them. When they come back to you for feedback, just like point out, so maybe here you should change this sentence to something else because it's not working for this text. Or maybe think of something, how can you say this thought of yours in, for example, past simple. So don't make your students hate writing, let them write, but when they come for feedback, do it gently. That once this type of feedback encouraged me to try my hand in writing stories for about some fictional character. I don't remember right now who it was. It was maybe something from Harry Potter or something like that, because I, after reading one of the stories on the internet, I decided, why don't I write one of the stories myself? And I'm like, okay. So I tried. My teacher gave me some feedback, and then she said, yeah, you can try again. It's working for you. So maybe one of your students will become a writer in the future. Who knows? Okay. When we talk about the grammar book, that's all that we mentioned above. So the grammar book is something that is helping students with, of course, grammar rules and practicing grammar and everything else. When we talk about the test booklet, how it's useful for you as a teacher. As you can see from the contents, we have tests for every module in the book, in the student's book. Those are ready tests already prepared for you that you can use as tests to see the progress that your students are making, and you can use them as tests, as tasks that can help you see if there maybe are some missing points, blank spaces, so to speak, in the knowledge that your students have about a certain grammar topic or even vocabulary topic. Why these tests are so useful? Because they are divided by different parts, by different tasks that they are created for. I would like to share it with you, but it's not out yet. So the ones for the sixth form are ready. They are ready to be printed out, but the ones for the fifth form, the grammar book and the test book, they are up on our website. You can go to our website and you can order those books from there. They are not very, they don't cost very much. I think it's something around 115 hryvnias or something like that. So yeah, I can share these pages out to the public because they are not out in the print yet. But if you want to order your copy for the fifth form, you can find it on our website and order it from there. For the test books for the 6th grade and the grammar books for the 6th grade will be available, I think, sometime around August, late August or beginning of September. So if you follow our pages, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our website, you can probably find the announcement. We will be sharing information about all of the books that are up for grabs, so to speak, with, of course, our teachers. So you will be able to have it when you need it and if you need it. So going back to our tests. So I will show you one of the tests. So I will show you examples of the module test, and I will show you examples of the midterm test and, of course, the final test. Okay, see a question. You're welcome, Tatiana. You're welcome. Okay, so when we see the structure of the test, so the test itself is pretty big. As you can see, there are 3 pages. You can and you should divide the test. So giving all of those tasks for one lesson, I think it's impossible to manage it during one lesson. So you can, of course, divide it. No one says you shouldn't. You should. And I think it would be the right thing to do, because using these big structures, it scares students, it stresses them out. And of course, maybe right now you need to check how they worked with the vocabulary, how they remember the meaning of the words, the usage of the words, and so on and so on. So please do it at your own pace and do with the test as you like. Next, we will see a little bit more of the structure. So we have the vocabulary section. Of course, we have our usual matching exercises, the crossing the odd word out. You can even change it up a little bit. You can say that you should cross the odd word out and add the one that is working with this topic. Completing the sentences with the words, of course. This shows how your students understand not only the word that they learned, but how it can be used in the sentence. And of course, communication. So we have this, we have a similar exercise in the student's book. So when you need to put the parts of the conversation into the correct order to get a full conversation. So there would be some maybe mismatching happening, because it may not connect all together at the beginning, but I think there can be some interesting situations where a question gets an answer that you didn't expect to see. Okay. So you have a full page of vocabulary exercises. You can give these exercises to your students just to see if they learned the vocabulary part of the unit as good as they should have. And if you see any blind spots, blank spaces in the results of those exercises, you can go back and revise some of those words and how your students should use them. Grammar part. The grammar part, of course, has all of the grammar topics that were used, that you were working with during the unit, during the module. It's once again changing the verbs in brackets into the correct tense to finish the sentence. and you have different types of sentences. So you have your negative sentences, you have questions, you have positive sentences, all of the different types. So of course, choosing the correct word, and also having notes that you need to expand into sentences. These type of tasks, so expanding notes into sentences, they probably have a different reaction from different students, because some of the students like them very, very much, but some students hate them with burning passion. They like, why? I have no idea what I should do, what I need to add here. Do I have to add maybe, I don't know, the, or a, or an? Should I not? So for some students, these exercises are creative freedom, but for some students, they are not creative freedom at all, and they don't like them very, very much. Next, we have listening, reading, and writing. Of course, these tasks can be combined, but you, of course, can divide them for different lessons. So you have here listening and reading. So all of the audios will be, I think, they will be a part of the students' books audios. If I'm not mistaken, I hope I'm not mistaken, because as far as I know, when it comes to these types of books, the audios should be somewhere with the students' books. But if not, you will also probably find them on the website. I think so. And you can see that the listening task and the reading tasks, they are not very big, but maybe sometimes you need to just work on listening. Like for this lesson, you are working on listening. And after you're done with these 3 questions for the listening task, you can turn on the recording once again, and you can like dissect all of the different parts of the sentences. And for example, if some of the students chose the wrong answer, you can work with the parts, the dissected parts of the sentence, and ask, why did you choose this one? Why did you think it was the correct answer? Can you listen to the sentence and tell me what in this sentence made you think that your option was correct? And maybe ask your other students to listen to it more carefully too, and maybe they will find some words that are unfamiliar or aren't useful for them. When we talk about reading tasks, so yeah, usually we have true or false, or maybe we need to read the text and answer to the questions. But these tasks, listening and reading, they show you how much your students really understand the language, and in context even more so. And of course, writing. Writing is, as usual, your usual writing task, but sometimes it gives them maybe some additional points that they need to include into their writing task. So, for example, write a paragraph about yourself for your own website. So usually for the website, they like have this, maybe the profile information, and you need to just not type it into the website box, but you need to like choose from the options that it gives you. But of course, they will need to use the appropriate constructions of the sentences. So for example, usually on the website, they have name, for example, Maria, surname, Petrova, age, like 14. So yeah, those are not your full sentences. They are just short descriptions of what what of the information of the parents. Sorry, not parents, but of the person. Would you recommend? So, what kind of grammar books would I recommend apart from teaching materials suggested? To tell you the truth, with older students, so not with middle school, but more like with high school students. But sometimes with middle school students, like the ninth form maybe, I prefer to use my trusted. Just a second, I will dip out like Batman, and I will be back. So yeah, I prefer using English Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy. I will not be flashing it right here, right now. It has different levels, so you can choose it. But when we speak about English courses that are used in our schools, so these grammar books are probably the best, because in others, there are maybe way too much information that is not needed right now. After all, we are using the courses that should work with the programs, the school programs. But yeah, for other students, for my older students, I use English Grammar in Use. Okay. Let me check. You're welcome. You're welcome. So again, going back to our writing task and reading and listening. So once again, you can divide these tasks, or maybe you can combine them when the task is smaller, or it will take less time than other exercises. So the midterm test, one of the most dreaded tests for students and for teachers, of course. So this test, it has, so for example, this one has modules 1 to 4. All of the top tasks that are in this test, they are connected to the first 4 modules from the student's book. Again, they are divided by the same categories. So vocabulary, communication, grammar, of course, reading, listening, and writing. So you will have all of the same parts, but they will be way fuller with grammar and, of course, yes, Murphy. Yes, it's from the Cambridge University, and I enjoy it really very much, because it helps to revise grammar, and it also helps to fill in those blank spaces, those missing parts of the grammar that your students are lacking. Again, going back to the test books, we have finals of the final test. Of course, it would be as big as the midterms, even more bigger than that, because of course, once again, you can divide it, and you should. So for example, we have in our schools, we have our 4 usual types of tests that we give to our students, like reading, listening, speaking, and writing. You have them all right here. So yeah, the vocabulary and the communication part can be easily added to grammar. But for example, you can change it up, or maybe you can combine, for example, you can combine speaking with the vocabulary part, and have the task about the communication task, have your students not only put together conversation between people, but have them practice it So maybe divide them into pairs of 2 and have them practice it together. And so for the speaking task, they can use this exercise. It would be, I think, an easy idea if you don't have much time to find any additional topics for your students to use. This one works, I think, just fine. And of course, the topics here combine all of the topics that your students learned during all of the modules in the student's book. And it is very, very interesting and very helpful. So you don't have to, so to speak, break your brain to find some of the tasks for the tests. You can use just already made tests from our book. Of course, we have the keys. I will not be showing them here right now. So you saw in the contents of the test book that there are keys to the test. So you can, of course, simplify the checking off the answers for your students. And of course, you can use those tasks even for some online exercises. Yeah, it may be not that pleasant to turn them into online exercises, but of course you can use those as an inspiration. I know I did when I was working with students online, and honestly, I enjoyed using those. And trust me, when you have some things that lessen your workload when it comes to creating test tasks for students, take it and run with it. So if you maybe have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. I will open the chat box. So once again, Lydia, if you have any question, type it into the chat box, please. So once again, the test book and the grammar book for the 5th form, it's already up on our website. You can order it from the website. Okay, Serhii, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you. So I usually, I tend to stress a lot before the start, but now I'm, after I begin talking, I'm letting it all go. So thank you, Serhii. Thank you for the compliment once again. So the books for the 5th form are already up on the website. You can find our website there. So you're welcome, everybody. You're very welcome. The books for the 6th form will be somewhere around August, early September. Just follow our Facebook page and Instagram page, and you will see everything. So maybe if some of you will be interested, I'm already preparing my next webinar, and I know some people, some teachers were very interested in working with apps and with AI for how to use it in your lessons, in English lessons. So I'm working on it. I can reveal the topic of my next webinar a little bit, because I know that sometimes using those additional resources can be not hard, but not easy either. So I hope that my my advice, I don't have the correct word to use here, but maybe some of the sites and some of the topics that I will show you during the webinar will be useful for you, because I stumbled upon some of them just by accident, but now I enjoy using them very, very much. And of course, I will say a little secret here that you have probably heard about it. If you follow, once again, our Facebook page, you probably know that we are working on some of the online resources for the first graders and the sixth graders for the NUSH classes. And I think that you and your students will find those resources very useful during your lessons. And come autumn, come September, you will see a lot more of it. And I hope you will enjoy it. So, thank you everyone for being here with me. Thank you all for tuning in, for joining me today. Once again, my contact information. If you have any questions, concerns, you can call me, text me, you can use my email address, and you can connect with me any way you want. And again, thank you. I wish you all a peaceful sky above you. I hope that we won't have any tragedies like we had. I don't like to talk about it, and maybe it's wrong, but I don't like to mention stuff like that, because when you speak about it more, it may become a reality. So thank you again for being here with me, and see you during my next webinar. Thanks and goodbye.